All right, so we are watching the Stardust versus Counterpoints, Vaush versus Foodshops panel here with Grandad's Lounge and Glitterbell and Leader. Those three are about to be kicked, though. It's about to be just Stardust and Counterpoints because Stardust cannot assert herself in a room with more than two people. So we're going to just start watching from here, I think. Obviously, in the last video, or the last bit of stream here, we've covered the first part. So let's just pick it up.
We'll bring you guys back in, okay? It's just,
right.
it's too
Cool.
much for me. Okay. Just a second. All right. Okay. All right. Okay. So, yeah. Look, it's just too much. So,
It's fine.
okay. So I guess, back to your point. You're saying that, what was that you were saying? Isn't this just part of a leftist degeneracy you were saying?
Yeah, like I'm kind of memeing, but I'm also kind of not. Isn't this just kind of like what lefties do, you know, is like fucking sit inside and be kind of basement dwellers and consume degenerate pornography and all that kind of shit?
But we
For
shouldn't
me, it kind of
separate
seems like
it.
it goes through the territory.
I don't think we should separate the top.
Okay, if he thinks this is just what lefties do, then why is he so shocked or appalled? Or why was he so shocked by the theory that he came up with to himself that Chud's community was full of lolicons? Why is he so shocked? If he thinks every leftist is just like that, then why was he so shocked? It just doesn't make any sense. Like, you can say, yeah, I would typically agree that when you go online and you see a bunch of like super hardcore lefties, they are probably looking at this kind of stuff. You can usually tell from looking at their Twitter profile whether they're looking at that kind of stuff too. I don't disagree with them at all on that point, but that's part of why I'm not like, you know, I don't spurg out into the massive outrage over it constantly. And yeah, is this really something you want to be saying when you work for PV? It just seems crazy.
Topic. I don't really know how this is relevant to the original topic because, again, the horse cock stuff, the horse stuff, him sexualizing horses, that is tied directly in with his loli consumption because one of the images in there was, involving a horse and a loli girl like giving a rim job to the horse, right? So,
which by the way, another part of my charitability or another part of the reason why I haven't been like as aggressive is because I think that I have been a little bit softer because I actually haven't gone and looked for the images myself at all.
Oh, they're disgusting.
So in some ways, and in some ways, I think people who are having a more visceral reaction than I am, they've actually seen the images and are therefore like more disgusted and therefore more outraged. Whereas I think I'm probably part of a healthy chunk of the larger sphere who hasn't specifically seen the images.
But Foodshops wasn't caught with a goon folder full of like horses fucking little girls, right? Don't get me wrong, she has openly talked about being into loli and jacking it to loli, but she's given context for it, like a power dynamic or whatever, right? Whereas Vaush is going around. Better. It's not better. It's not. But what I'm saying, Vaush is going around, has been condemning people for being into loli, has been calling people PDF files for years without any evidence, baselessly, right? While consuming loli the entire time, right?
Yeah, I think, yeah.
No, so Jimberly, all these people care about is whether they get caught. Because here's the thing, right? They can't actually reason their way through, like, other than saying it's unhealthy for the person, they can't reason their way through a moral argument against the loli stuff. So they have to say that it's just bad if you normalize it. That being on a public platform, you're normalizing it by defending it on a public platform. That's what they have to say. Because they haven't developed their thoughts enough to figure out their moral judgment on the actual loli. So if they get pressed on it, they can't back it up. So it falls back to this normalization point. Oh, well, just keep it to yourself. Just keep it to yourself. It's like, well, no. If you think this person's like a pedophile, you would probably want to know that, right? you would probably want to be aware that the person is a pedophile. I would imagine. I would, personally. I mean, well, for the sake of making better decisions, I don't care on, like, pedophiles can make funny content too. Foodshops, when she's getting lolcow farmed, is entertaining. So,
I think I've made this. I've made this point, but I'll make it again, just because we are talking about this. So, the difference for me, I think I articulated it, was there was nobody really getting super pissed off about Foodshops, whereas it seems like everybody is pissed off about Vaush. So I feel like mission accomplished. We did it.
pissed off because I feel like everybody in Twitch poll was pretty disgusted by it.
I feel like there were bigger people like Chud or Destiny or Tom or whatever, who basically they did who mega lol, right? They were
Okay.
like who, and then they just ignored the drama, right?
But Destiny
Whereas I
had the
felt
same.
like,
Well, yeah, no shit. There's no benefits them covering fucking food shops. Why would they sit there covering food? And Destiny doesn't even think there's anything wrong with Lolly.
Reaction to Vaush.
true. And honestly, the only reason why I'm not fucking pissing in Destiny's Cheerios right now is because I just think I'm just gonna be real. I think he's having a tough time. Okay, his
Yeah.
mom is sick.
Like,
Yeah.
The Melina thing, all that stuff. When people say that, like, they're like, oh, I don't get why Destiny is like so upset right now. It seems like he's getting upset pretty easily. It's like, dude, like, if your mom is seriously sick, if
Yeah.
you're dealing with family issues, if you had a recent breakup, all that kind of stuff, you're going to be a little bit more angry than usual. So it is.
so I mean, it feels like Connor. I feel strangely targeted by these comments. Is anyone else feeling like I'm maybe being strangely targeted by this comment? He's already mentioned that he watches me numerous times. I'm feeling slightly targeted by this comment of suggesting that Destiny is being unreasonably short-fused, should we say, as of late. And I've never said, here's the thing. So I will reply to this as if Connor's talking to me, because I feel like he is. And I may be schizophrenic. I may be thinking the people on the TV are talking to me, but it gets more and more likely every day. Okay? So I'm assuming that he's talking to me. I'm going to reply to it as if he's talking to me, because it's stuff I've said. Or not stuff I've said. I don't say that I'm confused as to why Destiny's on a short fuse. I've never said that. My problem is that Destiny will sit there and essentially shit in your mouth and tell you it's chocolate and tell you, no, nothing bothers me. I'm fine. It's all good. I'm fine. Nothing bothers me. I don't care. But then you see in his behavior the complete opposite. And like everything about the situation would tell you the complete opposite. Anyone with an emotional IQ that gets them through life would tell you the opposite. Based on everything we can see publicly. Obviously, there's no way of knowing. Obviously, Destiny's the only one who can truly know his inner thoughts, his inner state of mind. Obviously. But it just seems crazy that he will sit there and act so above it all, and act so unbothered, but then, or not act, but say, but then it comes out in his actions. And that's what bothers me. So try a little bit of, hey, yeah, listen, I'm kind of fucking on the hair trigger right now. Maybe if, he said to Kelly on that stream the other day at the end, he was like, listen, I'm on a hair trigger right now. You know how it is. Sorry about that. Maybe if he just said something like that, I would have actually looked at it and been like, oh, that's actually surprising from Destiny. I'm genuinely shocked to see it. That's a level of maturity that I don't usually see when I watch Destiny struggle through interpersonal issues. He did, though. I think he did after. Yeah. I will actually say that. I think last night I actually heard him say some shit like that on the J-Stalk stream. But I'm pretty sure he didn't say that at the time. I'm pretty sure Kelly didn't get an apology at the time on the initial stream. But Nyx, he is showing that vulnerability. It's very obvious. That's the thing, right? Just sitting there and lying about it. Like, anyone would be bothered going through a divorce, starting on a new medication, having to pay off like a huge amount of debt from your parents, your mother's sick, like all this shit. Like, anyone would be fucked up in that situation. So it's fine to say, I got a lot of shit going on in my life right now. I am on a bit of a hair trigger. It's fine to say that. He already shows it all publicly. He already shows everything in his life publicly. Well, not everything, but you know what I mean. He already is perfectly willing to put a bunch of personal shit on the internet, and he has done so. He's put those situations on the internet. So it just doesn't make sense to cape and try and uphold the masculine, stoic, light Yagami image at the expense of, like, what would be a more reasonable presentation, what would be a more reasonable way to behave with people.
Foodshops super chatted $4.99. $4.99 from Foodshops. Destiny should kick it back with me and vent. One struggle.
Thank you for the $4.99 Foodshops. You don't have to be strong for us, Destiny. It's okay to not be okay. Fuck suicide, okay? Never commit suicide. Never commit suicide.
Is what it is. So I don't, I don't really want to go after him and fucking piss him off in a time where his life is a little bit more dramatic than usual.
Yeah.
And then also same thing with Vaush. If everybody in the world is calling you a fucking pedophile and telling you to kill yourselves, then I don't want to be the person who's calling you a pedophile and telling you to kill yourselves, because who knows? Maybe I'm the one who actually makes you do it.
But Chud has been roasting Foodshops. Like this characterization that you seem to have in your head of Chud like not giving a fuck about Foodshops. To me, when I saw his reaction to Foodshops, he was incredibly strong on it. The only thing that he said was like, he said, I'm not going to associate with this person. I don't think other content creators should associate with this person. But he has said that, like, he's called, like, Foodshops a pedophile. He's called Foodshops a freak, right?
Since that conversation, I would say.
But even before
Since the
that,
conversation that I had, I don't know what I saw. Let me tell you what I saw, and let me tell you my impression.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's accurate. I'm saying this is the impression. I do consume glub shitto internet content. I know that Kuihman is a terrible person, but
Bro, why? For what? For what? I don't get it. What have I done wrong? Optics are for losers. Optics are for losers. It's true. Fuck optics. Fuck optics. No, seriously, what have I done? That's a lie, see the goat. That's a total lie. That's also a lie, Max. These things are both lies. Stop lying about me. You talk shit about the writer of his paychecks. Very true. Are you asking him to substantiate a claim? You're a debate, bro. True. That's a non sequitur, Kenny. Get out of my chat. I don't get it. What have I done? What have I done that's so wrong? What's wrong with Operation Hog Rider? That's good. It's saving Becky.
I do enjoy his, drama content.
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with Chud Logic. I know that a lot of people don't like Chud because he's largely a React Andy, but he typically finds like the juiciest, most fucked up drama.
Yeah,
and
but
there's something.
Does being a shit stirrer, does that make you a bad person? That's not being a bad person.
Special about an English person talking shit about somebody that you're kind of preying on their downfall, right? Not you. When they covered you, I was like, stop being mean to Star, you fucking pieces of shit, right?
It's fine. I don't really care. It's part of the discourse.
Yeah,
right?
it's part of the game, right? It's
Yeah.
part of the game.
Yeah.
So Chud kind of ignored it, Tom kind of ignored it, Destiny kind of ignored it, everybody kind of ignored it. And then when it came to Kuihman, I'm not trying to put words in his mouth, but I felt like the coverage at the time
Horrible misquote incoming. Horrible misquote incoming.
was, who gives a fuck? It doesn't hurt anybody. Like, he wanted to milk it because he wanted to basically this person to say a whole bunch of like socially awkward things that's going to get them ostracized. But they were basically like, at the end of the day, who gives a fuck? Plenty of people in this community jerk off to Lolicon.
Oh, there it is. There it is. Oh, there it is. Sorry, there it is. There it is. There's the horrible misquote. Sorry, slightly early. At no point have I said plenty of people in this community jerk off to it. At no point have I said, find that clip for me, Counterpoint. Find that clip for me. Now, Counterpoints. Find that clip. Now. I've said that people, like Chomo Blast, but we call him Chomo Blast because he had a lolly avatar. We even call lyrics Olicon lyrics. It's not like people don't get shamed for this stuff, or we're like, oh yeah, we're all here doing it. All of us are like this. Like, no.
That's at least my impression. I'm not saying that's a verbatim quote.
Okay. Not a verbatim quote. Okay. Well, it's not what I said at all, is it? It's not what I said at all. It's not the impression I was giving. Remember when Connor CP Counterpoints insinuated that Chud had a ton of pedos in his audience? Yes, I do. I do recall Connor CSAM Counterpoints stating that Chud had loads of pedos in his audience. Yeah, I do remember that just a few weeks ago. Yep.
Saying that was the vibe. And so that's why I got pissed off, where I'm like, I'm surrounded by a bunch of fucking freaks. What the fuck? Why is everybody just giving this person a pass? So then I freak out. Chud is the lightning rod of me freaking out. But then again, like with the Vaush situation, everybody else is freaking out. There's no need for me to freak out. Everybody else is freaking the fuck out.
But I think even Chud, like, I disagree with your characterization, because I do think Chud actually...
Rika is not a lolly. What shit you chatting, Deeper Armor? Come on now.
Did call Foodshops a freak even before your conversation.
But freak for me is not a huge indictment.
Wait,
we're all
which
freaks.
one's Rico
We're
again?
all
That's
autistic
Uta's
fucking
team, isn't it?
spurgs who are hanging out. The way that we spend our time is talking about Twitch and YouTube.
That is the girl. That is the girl from the Gojo arc. She's a high schooler, retard. What? Come on now.
Drama and geopolitics. That's how we spend our time. We are all freaks in a way. So a freak for me is not a huge indictment. Whereas I think jerking off to
$1.99 from Lyrics. 56% of anime consumers jack it to loli.
Is that where are you getting that stat from, Lyrics? Where are you?
Of children getting fucked by adults could be a line that's too far, even for how fucked up and stupid the Twitch and YouTube political community is. It should be a bridge too far.
Sure,
we should have some standards.
But I think Chud did follow those standards, right? Like I think
not aggressively enough for me, and I made my opinion clear, and he called me a moral frog for freaking out about it. So he called me a moral frog, and then he basically did what I asked him to do to Vaush a month later or 2 months later.
Yeah, I mean,
so for me, I feel like I won.
I'm working on getting you a better fan than Connor. Thank you, Sleepy. Thank you. Chris said it's not a verbatim quote. Said food shops can shut the fuck up. I'm so glad I didn't read that.
Look, people are saying that like Chud was also calling food shops a pedo even before that, right? So
I would have to see a stream, because largely at that time, because I actively consume at least the pre-recorded Chud content. I don't consume all of his live streams.
Yeah.
I don't have that much time. But in the pre-recorded content, one, I don't think there was an active food shops content piece for Chud. Two, the live stream that I did catch, he was very
But sure, but an active content piece on food shops would have given her more attention than it would have taken away from her. That's just kind of the size that she was, right? And you know, I do think that for the most part, like, I think people were like, yeah, this is pretty gross, but I think also a lot of people noticed that this person is sick, right? And that's the only reason that people were trying to reach out to this person and maintain contact, was to, this person is sick and they need help, right? But you know, people have realized, at least I have, you know, that that's not something that is like feasible anymore, right? But I mean, I've still I would have
talked to food shops making content in general, but once that Resevere stream happened, there's nothing else we can talk about. We have to talk about that one topic, and we have to find some level of consensus. And if we can't find consensus, then we can't be associates at all. And that's actually where I would say with yesterday's stream, now maybe I was told earlier in the day, or earlier that week, I think I was told by Short Fat Otaku that food shops had, you know, denounce what they had said, or what she had said before. They, you know, denounced that previous position. They didn't necessarily think the POCD thing.
Search the Destiny subreddit for Gecko. You will find the log. Okay, I might look. All right. Yeah, I've never actually seen the logs of us talking about that shit. It's just sort of a thing that I've heard repeated again and again.
Thing was a good call, et cetera, et cetera. That's what Short Fat Otaku had said. Now, I'm not saying that's accurate. I'm just saying that's what he said. Yeah. So if that was the case, where food shops had denounced the previous positions, I would have been happy to talk to him. But now that it's kind of like, yeah, fuck you, Giga Chad, I'm still gonna, you know, I'm not like a pedophile, but every now and then I'm gonna do it, and there's nothing you can do about it.
Oh man, this Destiny subreddit title as well. This is just funny. Why am I wearing Geckos? Oh, dude. Oh, this is just rancid. I didn't want to be clipped saying that. Dude, what a freak. Oh, man. Yeah, we've seen food shops right there. Don't worry.
Sorry, that's the
Sure.
fucking line for me. I don't
But-
even care if you're joking. Even if she
Right.
comes back like a month from now and she's like, I was just joking, I was just shit posting, I just wanted negative attention because I wanted to put even bad press is good press. I would be like, that's too much of a risk for me. I can't hang out with you.
I get that. But again, I would say that for me, from what I saw, everybody in Twitch poll denounced her. Everybody in Twitch poll seemed to have a problem with her. The only people hanging on were me and Zonia. That's it, right?
Sure.
So I don't think that the criticisms of Chud in this are valid. And I think it's weird that, again, you are going so much softer on Vaush. I understand you're saying, oh, he's already being told to kill himself by everybody, but Foodshops was also being told.
Dude, it's so funny. Apparently, someone was asking for Stardust was like watching that thing of the panel the other day live. Apparently, someone was asking to get her in, and it's so funny that she's trying to rat onto a Chud panel after calling everyone doxers like 2 months, how many months ago, 6 months ago, and she literally last week said the Eldrazi drama was like the proudest moment of her career, is how she described it. And then she's trying to rat onto one of the panels. Like, come on, dude. That's so ill. It's literally so spineless.
To kill herself by a lot of people, right?
Not by me though. I didn't say that. I have had no problems with food shops. As a matter of fact, I think that I've DM'd them a couple of times and I'm like, you seem like a cool, nice cat. Like, except for the lolly shit, except for the act of consuming of the lolicon, I have no problems with food shops. She seems like a nice gal. However, that is such a damning piece of their personality in content that I can't look the other way.
Sure,
it just
but
is what it is.
Don't you think years of content
Yeah. He said Stardust. Brandon.
from Vaush is damning as well?
I've seen Sleepy.
Well, okay, yes. But let's be real here for like a half second. Vaush has been in the fortress for 2 fucking years, or like a year and a half. They haven't even fucking come out. So people are like, are you going to collaborate with Vaush? I'm like, I don't even think Vaush fucking collaborates with anybody at this point. So, and then what it would boil down to, because I think this is a consistent moral standard, if food shops had denounced their previous takes, if they had come out and said, I think that lolicon consumption, while not as bad as actual child porn or not as bad as actual child sex abuse, I do think that consuming it is bad for the consumer. As a result, I am cutting out that part of my pornographic consumption from my life, and I kind of promise to never do it again. Then I would give them a second shot. I would say, hey, all right, cool. Like, you changed your perspective on this. I'm willing to work with you. Let's make some content together. Same thing with Vaush. If Vaush is like, this is no longer a part of my life, I'm not a part of it, I'm not trying to advocate it, fuck that, I want to be responsible, etc., I would collaborate with Vaush.
But you're
However,
saying...
if Vaush was saying, no, it's based, Giga Chad, I love, that content, then no, fuck no, I would never work with him
but he's
again.
not doing either of those things, right? He's not doing the Giga Chad, this is based. He's also not doing the thing like, oh, this is fucked up, I'm getting help. He is doing the thing where he is running in the other direction. He is hiding and lying about what he was consuming. And lying.
It's crazy that Stardust is actually managing to press counterpoints here. It's genuinely baffling. Genuinely baffling that he didn't think through this stuff and that Stardust is having to catch him on it. Absolutely nuts.
About how it got on his computer. He knew. There's no way with that man's history, no way with what he said to women, what he said to Poppy about her looking like a lolly. There's no way with his
that's fucking crazy.
The amount of anime that he has consumed that he doesn't know what lolly is. He knows what it is.
I agree with you for a healthy chunk of this take. And on top of that, one of the things that you brought up that borderline made me reconsider what I'm thinking. If Vaush's audience is borderline being primed to defend this behavior, that is going to affect whether or not I continue to associate with that far part of YouTube and Twitch poll. Because if they're like, nah, doesn't hurt anybody, fuck it, Vaush might be backing off, but I'm not, and then that's tolerated within the VGG community, that community is going to be toxic to anything it touches, and nobody should associate with
But
it.
you were just...
That sounds so based. Why did you make it sound so cool?
saying like a few minutes ago that the reason that you were softer on Vaush is also partly because he ran away from it versus Foodshops giga chatting. I don't see running away from it and denying and lying to your audience as something that is better than giga chatting it. I think lying to your audience and doing this whole condemnation, moral condemnation, while still consuming the content that is bad, and then your audience is defending you.
Yeah. Stardust absolutely. I think Counterpoints, I'm pretty sure, even concede to that Stardust is just right on this. I mean, it's just nuts. Didn't think about it before though. Like, obviously, being a fucking pussy about it is worse. Sure, I feel like Counterpoints would have just like a gut reaction to that, but I guess not.
This entire time, I think that is just as bad.
Okay, my concern, my main concern, I think, is not Vaush himself. Okay, and I think that you and I both can acknowledge that Vaush has redeemable qualities. He's like, he's a good rhetorician, he's funny, he's a decent debater, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, right? I don't necessarily care about Vaush himself.
It's an election year, guys. It's an election year. Okay? We need all pedos on deck. All pedos on deck, guys. Okay? We got to stop Trump. We need all the pedos. It's an election year.
I do care about his impact with his community. So, if Vaush allows lolicon apologia in his community, I'm going to view it maliciously, kind of the way that you articulated it, where he's just putting out a public face so he can continue to have a public reputation, and then he's just going to do whatever he does on the back end, right? That's the way that I would view that. If they clamp down on it in VGG and they're like, actually, no, Vaush did fuck up. This is morally fucked up. This is not a part of our community. We want to be palatable to the mainstream politics. We want to be politically effective. We want to do this. We want to do that. Then I would show that as a sign of relative good faith.
Sure, but the thing is, it's neither of those things, right? Again, it is him
not right
running
now.
away.
It's still relatively fresh.
No, but he has gone on. He's gone on to have further streams where he doesn't even acknowledge what happened, and he's doing political streams again, where he covers politics. He's not addressing it at all after that first thing, which I mean is the smart thing to do PR-wise.
I was about to say, isn't that kind of like the
what
move?
you're asking for is not being done. Neither of those things are happening. What he is doing is he is running away from it. As you said, he is hiding from it, and as a result, his community is defending him. And they're saying like, oh, he didn't know what he was downloading. We know he knew what he was downloading. And they're saying, and they're going to defense for him. And the ones that aren't using that excuse are defending his consumption of lolly and bestiality type content.
Right. Which for me, let's bring this into the sphere of actual politics and just not internet drama. Okay. Or we can do the internet drama and then we can do real politics. Okay. Mm. The internet drama portion of this is that I don't want young people to view Vaush as a mentor and what an ideal young man or young person should be if he's going to be a lolicon, right? I don't want hundreds of thousands of people idolizing him. I don't want hundreds of thousands of people to follow him. I don't want him to make that much money. I don't want to have them to have that much clout and attention. If he's a private public lolicon, right? So from there, I would start being antagonistic towards him and wanting that to be eliminated from the space. Then, when it comes to politics, I've not really made it a secret that I prefer Joe Biden over Donald Trump. And while I think the Twitch and YouTube political community can only have a fractional impact, PV did some really cool shit with DGG, which was they got 300 young people out to Cincinnati, Ohio, which is it's a swing state. They knocked on 40,000 doors. I think they had like 9,000 conversations, and they had a few hundred people register to vote. And I understand, like, well,
literally, it's the election year argument. Sorry, I tuned out for a moment there. It's the fucking election year moment. That's so crazy. Also, guys, I keep hearing conflicting things. Is it true that they had like a bunch of doors knocked, but only a tiny percentage of them actually got, like, it was like a really bad return. Am I right about that? I keep hearing that. I'm not going to make that claim. I don't know if that's true. But I keep hearing it. I know that's common when I get you always have a low return, but I thought theirs was exceptionally low. I thought that was the case.
Well, don't you want more people registered to vote? Obviously.
That's what
but
I heard,
this is already more politically productive than I think any other canvassing operation maybe in the United States of America.
I'm confused how this relates to Vaush.
Yeah, I'll get to that.
Okay.
So this is already one of the most like effective canvassing operations in the United States of America, I think, at this time. And then two, while it might be an infinitesimally small impact, it still is an impact. Knocking on 40,000 doors, getting an extra few hundred people registered, and having 9,000 political conversations that makes people.
In that.
Vaush wasn't involved in that, but Vaush did fundraise for PV. And also, I believe he was thinking about, I think he's already encouraging some of his audience in order to go canvass. But I also think that there was like considerations about him maybe doing future events. But obviously, this throws a huge fucking wrench in that, right?
Well, if
like,
Vaush had gone,
can you be associated with the lolicon horse guy publicly?
Here's the thing.
Here's
the thing. If Vaush had gone to the PV thing, which he did not. We did not see him there. He was not there. If he had gone, he probably wouldn't have leaked his goon stash, right? So let's be real here. If you want to talk about political impact, he's not devoted enough to like show up to one event to not leak his goon stash. Like, are you kidding me?
Okay, listen,
We're talking about political efficacy, and you want to go lighter on Vaush because he has the ability to potentially influence his audience to go to PV events. He didn't even show up himself.
This is really mean and really funny. Okay, I'm with you. Just because the head of VGG is
okay, but you're saying 0.75% is bad. But what is a good percentage? What do they usually get with the canvassing operations?
Sexual degenerate doesn't mean that I think that every member of DGG, or not DGG, VGG is a sexual degenerate.
I don't think they are either.
Same thing I would say, okay, hold on. Same thing I would say with DGG. Destiny, I would say, is not as bad in that he has not leaked his goon stash that depicted underage Japanese drawings.
Mm-hmm.
But I do think that he does have some like questionable personal choices, right? That do affect his public persona and the way people perceive him, and is potentially toxic to a actual electoral political event. So my whole point just being that like the people who are members of these communities who care about politics are more important than the creators themselves.
I am not saying that his audience is full of degenerates. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying because he has the ability to impact,
but not all of them are.
Well, I mean, his community is full of degenerates.
Okay, well, because because the very same reasons that you were listing, Vaush has the potential to impact Vaush has the potential to impact his community to go out and be politically
even if it's small,
effective. Right, but I agree with you, but that is the reason why you should be harder on Vaush. Do you really want to be associated with...
He's saying you don't matter. He doesn't matter either. He doesn't matter either. That's just facts. None of us matter. It's retarded internet content. It's just all self-important bullshit. Most of those DGs were just there, and apparently they didn't achieve a whole lot, but apparently, so I'm hearing. But they were just there for, the first college party they've ever been invited to. It was essentially the vibe. Which is whatever. Let's just speak the facts here. Let's just speak the facts. They were there for the only college party they'll ever get invited to. That was why DGS showed up.
With the lowly horse guy?
No, which is actually, that's something that I'm kind of mum on, because I'm not really, I don't make these decisions. These are way above my pay grade, right? I don't know if Vaush is going to be invited to public events. I don't know if he's going to do canvassing himself. I don't know if it's going to be like a quiet encouragement for him to encourage his audience to continue to canvass while he doesn't necessarily do anything big. I have no idea how this is going to shake out.
I mean, yeah, what politician is going to want to be associated with PV or be associated with you if you're associated with the lowly horse guy, you know? Yeah, you can say stuff about Destiny. Destiny, his biggest crime is being promiscuous. That's it, right? He's a little bit of a hoe, right? Vaush is not only a hoe and promiscuous, he also consumes lowly and consumes horse.
Dude, I don't know that Destiny would even agree with that. Destiny has described himself as psychologically abusive or emotionally abusive, whichever one it was. He has said that he had to choke out his ex-wife. Like, I don't. The worst thing he's done is be promiscuous. I don't. That's just not true. It's just blatantly untrue. But I'm not saying that. Yeah, obviously there is nuance to the choking out his ex-wife thing. For any DG cries about it, there is obviously nuance to that story, where his wife was also physically abusive, and it was in self-defense and trying to put down a situation, I guess. But you see my point, is that it's not just promiscuity, is it? There's more to it than that. There has been more substantive issues.
Cock content. And horse cock lowly content. So I mean,
so I'm curious from your perspective. I want to ask you a question. So all right, I heard you. You want me to go harder? You think this is more serious than I'm giving it credit for, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. I heard you. I'll take it into consideration.
Okay.
Do you think it's over? Like is Vaush so toxic at this point that it is impossible for him to be involved in this general electoral cycle? He shouldn't, he shouldn't canvass. He shouldn't encourage his audience to canvass. He shouldn't do anything.
I don't think it's impossible, and I think he should still encourage his audience to canvass. But I think that as people in this space and as people with who hold a certain moral,
this article is so fucking ages. Is it? Try to figure out what the percentage of doors knocked that convert into registered voters is. I can't bother to read all that at the moment. Fuck it.
Standard. It reflects badly upon us, and it reflects badly upon it reflects badly towards the broader community and people outside this community if we are unwilling to go hard on him.
Okay. No, I mean, I think that's a fair assessment. I think that one of the tells of somebody who is like principally consistent is are they willing to go against their friends when they're wrong, right? That's like somebody who will put principles over clout. I think that's an astute.
The right has been trying to weaponize Vaush's comments about horsecock for years. Now we saw him give them a gold mine, right? They don't need to they have way more than just his comments and discords and his relationship with Poppy. Now they have his actual goon stash, which actually had horses and lowly in it. It's just crazy to me. Like, why we wouldn't be going harder on him on this, so the right can't look at us and point at us and look at them. Look at these guys. They're so degenerate and they're so willing to compromise their morals that they're...
Wow, it's crazy that Stardust is having to point out to Connor that having one of the figureheads of your organization be an open lolicon bestiality enthusiast may actually be like a bad public image of that organization. Just maybe. I don't know. Just a thought.
You're okay with this dude fucking, consuming lowly horse content, right?
Yeah, you got a point.
Like where you look like fucking hypocrites, and we all look like degenerates. What's the difference between me and a consumer of a lowly horse porn content, hentai content? If I'm just willing to enable the guy. If I'm okay with him just running away and I didn't know, guys. No, you fucking knew. He knew. There's no way.
Yeah. So I think you're just gonna have to win this conversation. I don't think I have a strong defense. I think my only concern, let's just put all the cards on the table, okay?
Okay.
When I first started
Pedo victory? No, that's dangerous. That's dangerous.
In the political space, I did a debate with Mike from PA. That was my very first thing.
Mhm.
Then I talked to Dylan Burns, and I got on a heated hippy dippy. Then I think I talked to Vaush, and I talked to Vaush by harassing him, you know, in super chats and all that kind of stuff for a prolonged period. So I have a soft spot for the guy because he basically, he was one of the first people who was like a kind of large creator. I think he was 55,000 subs at the time, who was willing to talk to me. So I have a soft spot for the guy.
Yeah.
I think he has done redeemable and funny and interesting things over the years. I have not liked the Fortress arc at all. I think it's been fucking disastrous. But there's always been this like hope that he would get it back together, even if it was just for the content or for the sake of YouTube and Twitch politics. There was this hope that he would get it back together.
I wish Vaush would just talk to us again. I wish Vaush would just talk to us again. Oh my god, dude, it's so crazy. It feels like, I don't know if it's just like learned helplessness or what, but it's like they need these big figures to be around and interacting with them to feel like they can succeed at all. It might just be learned helplessness from being on Twitch, where you do need those big figures for discoverability because the fucking site sucks total shit. But like, I feel it's just not as true on YouTube. Like, I've never interacted with Destiny. They'll keep next week, possibly. I've never interacted with Destiny, yet still I can grow from making content about Destiny and surrounding Destiny. Because I just put him in the metadata and it gets served to his audience. Whereas on Twitch, you needed a Destiny or a Vaush to be there to sort of bring people into a certain area of the site, into a pocket of the site, because of the discoverability being so bad. But it just doesn't work like that. Like, you don't need these people to breathe life into debate panels. You just need to have people that aren't so fucking boring. Like, yeah, if every debate panel is Stardust, Wick, Lactoid, Leader, yeah, you're gonna fucking struggle. Yes, you're gonna struggle.
Maybe I'm coping, and maybe it's Jover, and I'm just not willing to admit it. And
look, I'm in the same boat as you. I also have a soft spot for Vaush, but that's why I feel like so Vaush is somebody who used to hang out in my chats when I used to live stream as a baby streamer, right? He would hang out in my chats. He would be there regularly, several nights in a row,
hanging out with the community.
Yeah, and then every once in a while he would call into my show. And
Boomer needs to stop using slang. Jesus.
And he didn't mind people screaming at him in the chat or coming into the voice call to scream at him. You know, he was incredibly nice to me as a new creator. He has given me advice as a new creator, and even when I met him in person, he is incredibly charismatic and a great conversationalist and just such a good personality. But that's why I have to go hard at him. I'm sorry. It's not acceptable for you to be consuming content of horses raping little, prepubescent girls. I'm not okay with that. I'm not down with it. I'm sorry. So, I'm not calling it a PDF file. I'm not calling it a PDF file, but I'm saying it's fucking sus as fuck, and he needs help, and he can't run away from it.
I respect it. I am sorry that I have not gone as hard as you would like me to go. I will consider going harder. Maybe I'll make like an essay or something talking about Vaush's lack of efficacy over the past few years and how it seems to have like culminated in this horrible disaster. But again, it's hard when somebody is kind to you when you're first starting out. It's hard to kick them when they're down. And maybe that's it. Maybe I see everybody else beating the dog shit out of them, and I feel like everybody else is already doing it, and then it doesn't. I have a soft spot just like you.
Well, okay, I get that. I do think. I do get that. I think that. I think that people who know Vaush need to ask Vaush what he's going to do to fix this situation. Whether he's going to own up to it. I mean, I think he
What
needs
could he
to own
do?
up to it and take responsibility and say, I'm sorry I lied, you know?
That is going. I'm telling you, the reason why that's not going to happen is just because any admission of like, yeah, you know what? I thought I was better than everybody else. As a result, I thought that I could do whatever I wanted without consequence. I got a little bit cocky. I started consuming content that I really shouldn't have. I actually do think it's morally objectionable. I think it's fucked up. I'm not going to do it again in the future, I promise. And you know, you can hold me to that. If you catch me doing anything like this again, boom, you can nuke me from orbit. I feel like even that.
See, look, I've said this before. Again, his Warhammer man-child is showing again. I hate that they talk like this. They all do it. All Warhammer players, when they start talking about like politics or internet drama or what, it doesn't really matter. Any topic, actually, literally any topic, and they'll start using like war terms or like sci-fi terms to describe incredibly simple things. Nuke from orbit.
Will be used in order to perpetuate the drama cycle, twist the knives deeper,
Yes, all
make
of
all his
them.
enemies more emboldened,
Yes,
et
all
cetera,
of
et
them.
cetera. So even if I think like I agree with you, that I think that would be the move, that would be the morally responsible move. I just don't think it's going to happen.
I mean, but like, there has to be a way where he can handle this optically.
I know it's a quote from Aliens. You guys are genuinely autistic if you don't understand what I'm saying there. They consist of the type of person that likes Warhammer, also Warhammer 40k, also consistently employs military language and sci-fi language in order to make simple points. That is what I said. That is very clear. Nothing about that said, oh, what Connor just said, that's a direct reference to something from the Warhammer 40,000 Space Marine Codex published in 2013, the fifth generation army rulebook. No, that's not what I said, is it, retard?
Without lying, right? Because like, I don't,
Jesus,
you know, I don't think that's good. I think
people.
I think he should at least like admit to going to help or advocate for people getting, you know, help if they have those kind of like proclivities, right? And again, this is his work computer, right? It's not like his personal computer was leaked.
Kimberly
it was
is
his
looking
work
for a
computer
timeout
where
right now.
all of these images were leaked. So like, he's got enough of a problem that he's unable to separate his, you know, his gooning stash from his work computer and his personal computer. He needs, you know, he needs to get help.
So let's talk about that. I think that moves into the bestiality thing actually quite seamlessly. So one of the revelations from this entire drama that I think I only bumped into recently was the fact that Vaush previously was exposed for something similar, and his excuse was that he was going in between classes and was gooning in between classes and accidentally liked some lolly stuff while he was gooning in between classes. That's called a porn addiction. Classes. He was in college.
Oh, okay. All right.
So he was in college, and he literally was gooning between classes and did that.
Problem?
That's fucking crazy. You should not be walking around looking at pornography while you're in public. That is a bananas fucking statement.
Well, no. He wasn't. Okay, when they say gooning, like, they're just saying he was viewing pornography, right? He was browsing pornography on Twitter.
The fact that was just taken as like, oh yeah, we all walk around looking at pornography in public. That's fucking crazy. Okay, so if there are young people who are fans of Vaush or who saw that content or whatever, and you're doing that, that's not normal. Stop doing that. Stop looking at porn in fucking public. You're fucking crazy. And then two, I think the Reddit reveal, if it's actually real, is that he wasn't just into drawn bestiality porn. He was into actual bestiality porn, and he wanted to talk to actual people who actually committed bestiality. That's fucking insane. Okay, that shouldn't be excused for at all. And I do find it uncomfortable that it's kind of like Giga Chad memes for that, right? It's like Giga Chad memes for like wanting to watch a horse fuck a person or wanting to be the horse fucking a person. That's fucking crazy. If this was all weird lefty degenerate cartoon fantasy bullshit, like maybe we get a pass, but when you add in the Reddit context, it totally fucks everything up. So anyways, I don't know if I really have a place to go with that, except for the fact that like I wouldn't even necessarily give a fuck if he was like, I'm going in for lolly. I think he needs to go in for fucking porn addiction, borderline.
Okay, what do you think? What do you think food shops should have
Okay,
done?
dude.
What do you
Thanks for your detailed analysis of Vaush's psychological state. Thank you.
think would have been the right thing for her to do after her admission of what she was into?
Publicly or to the therapist?
Just in general, right? After she admitted that she had, jacked it to lolly. Let's say she hadn't gone. Let's say she hadn't gone further and continued to double down. What do you think would have been the optimal thing for her to do after that?
Yeah, literally to say, hey, listen, I did something fucked up. I'm never going to do it again. I know that it encourages a part of my brain that's not healthy or happy for me or healthy or happy for society. I don't want anybody to ever feel like I'm a danger or a threat to society. As a result, I promise to never do this again. And if I fuck up again, then I'll go get, medical attention.
So
or I'll go
that's
get therapy.
huge, right? That's huge because it's that solution is not what Vaush did. That solution is not what food shops did, but it's also not
Dude,
what Vaush
Stardust,
did, right?
these are the most simple fucking points in the world. And Stardust is just like fumbling it. She can't make her way through it. It's ums and ahs constantly. It's just non-stop. It should be so easy because Connor has not thought about any of this stuff at all.
What Vaush did was lie and hide, right? I doubt that you would be okay with food shops.
So it actually makes it hard to listen to. It makes it difficult to pay attention to because she just struggles so much to get her fucking points out.
Even if she didn't giga chat it, I doubt you'd be okay with her lying
Working
and hiding
out? No,
after
my
that,
back
right?
is in severe pain, dude.
Yeah. So so hold on. We need to parse this out a little bit. Okay. So I care more about the audience than I care about a creator. For all I give a fuck. No offense to any of my creator friends that we all met who were beautiful, fantastic people at the PB thing. But for all I give a fuck, you guys will all have heroin addictions and you'll kill yourselves in the next fucking decade anyways, right? It's just going to happen. But you guys typically have a few hundred to a few thousand people who are out there who are listening to you. And those people have lives and their lives can be good based off of what they choose to do with their lives, or they can be bad. So I care about those people and I care about the advice that you give them. So let's say that it's kind of like, it's kind of like Destiny with the N-word. If Destiny had privately said the N-word joke for the rest of his fucking life and never gotten caught, nobody would have given a fuck because basically it would have no impact on the world. Whereas if he's running around saying like, yeah, scream the N-word with a hard R in public, then that's a problem because he's encouraging hundreds, if not thousands of young people to have a fucked up perspective on the way that like language works, right? So it's the same thing with the law.
Oh man, who cares? Who cares? Oh my god. Really? This is the level we're at? It's like, don't tell your audience to say slurs. Who cares if he did that? Who would care?
Thing. If Vaush lies to me, I don't give a fuck. I just think he's going to hell. But if he encourages his audience to do it, that's fucked up. So the reason why I would hold food shops to a higher account is because she is, in a way, encouraging people to continue in that behavior just through admitting that she does that behavior in public versus Vaush, who is saying like, no, I don't do it. I don't do it ever. It's fucked up. Like I would rather take a lying pedophile who fucking hides their bullshit from the world from a fucking open pedophile who's promoting it as virtue. That.
Oh my god, that feels like such a backwards view. Surely you would want to know. Surely you would want to know. What? It's just so, oh man. So I mean, all this stuff just feels motivated by like brand safety, basically, like audience capture, right? Because that's the only rationale I can think of that is like, stop making us look bad. Make it so I can use your clout without making us look bad. That's how it feels. Because otherwise, why would you surely want to know? It just makes no sense.
Versus Vaush, who was saying like, no, I don't do it. I don't do it ever. It's fucked up. Like I would rather take a lying pedophile who fucking hides their bullshit from the world from a fucking open pedophile who's promoting it as virtue. That's fucking crazy.
All right, but okay, you're saying that you've got food shops openly promoting it, and that's going to impact her audience, right? Her audience is like 10, 15 people. The rest of them are like hate watchers. And even with that, even with the hate watchers,
why is look, now Star's trying to tear shows down? What's going on here, dude? Is she getting fucking a little bit anxious? That's bruh.
her audience, right? Her audience is like 10, 15 people. The rest of them are like hate watchers. And even with that, even with the hate watchers, it's not
dude, what so what's yours then?
It's not, you know, it's not that big of an audience. Whereas Vaush, who is lying and hiding, has an exponentially bigger audience than she does. So even if
but what's he promoting? If he's saying this is horrible, don't do it, then that's the message I want him to spread.
But it's not even that, right? It's like him again hiding and lying, right? He was caught red-handed with the material, and then he's saying like, "Oh, I didn't know what it was," when we all know what it is, right? I don't think encouraging lying is a good thing.
I'm not encouraging lying. I hope he would tell the fucking truth and never see that shit again. You just asked me like what I think he's is he probably going to do it again? And I think the answer is yes. Oh,
look, it's fucking sped in chat. Origin of logos, oh man.
What I think would get me more on your side, where maybe I would have more of like a moral rage, is if I saw the redacted, hopefully largely redacted pictures. I've borderline thought of, I don't really want to do it, but I borderline thought of, I think Short Fat Otaku had copies or something like that. I thought of like asking him, like, do you have censored versions where you can kind of see like,
dude, it's not that hard. Just go on KF and get this stuff. I don't know, dude. Just go and look at it, dude. It's not that fucking deep.
Blurred versions or something like that, so I at least can get a vibe for how fucked up it was, because I do think that is kind of like what's maybe that's the communicative issue between you and me, is you've seen how fucked up it is, whereas I haven't.
Even if you haven't seen how fucked up it is, we have a description of what was in the folder, right? And the descriptions are...
What's the deal here? Is he scared it'll awaken something in him? What's going on?
Again, it seemed to me even worse. But, you know, secondly, like...
I don't have a high opinion of leftists. I assume all leftist fucking freaks jerk off to kids getting fucked by horses. No offense. I'm not kidding.
Fine.
Like, seriously, the Venn diagram of fucking communists and people who jerk off to horses' fucking children is probably a perfect circle.
Right, but we're talking about somebody who is a public figure, who has an impact on a huge audience, and we are talking about what we think he should do. We've talked about what food shops should have done.
My advice is say, it's bad and I'm never going to do it again, and then never get caught doing it again. That's my advice.
Okay, well, you were just saying, though, that that you don't hold him to that, like, prior to this, you were just saying, like, oh, you know,
what do you want me to do? Do you want me to go to fucking Seattle and fucking hit him with a brick if he does it again?
Wait, let me
finish what I'm saying. I will, but you got to pay my bond.
Okay, let me finish what I'm saying. You were just saying
Why say that?
That there's no way for Vaush to do this.
Yeah, I would wood chip a Vaush, actually. Dude, are you good?
There's no way for Vaush to admit it. Like, you know, you're saying that you hold one brick. Not right now. Brick, not right now.
This guy sucks. This guy sucks so fucking bad.
Brick, not right now.
There are times to not use Nick.
Thank you, Doobie, for the $5. Thank you. I'm reading it. Okay. I'm screenshotting this. Okay. I'm putting this in Discord. Okay, it's in Discord. It's in my general chat. It's in Spicy Chat. You guys can see it if you want. Okay. That's what the dono said.
Now, brick. Okay, I'm moving him out. Okay.
But not to you, Stylo.
But not to you, Stylo. Okay. Oh. Oh, Jesus, that was close.
Yeah. Okay. So right. We were talking about what he should do, right? And you previously said just like 10 minutes ago that for some reason your standard of what Vaush should do is different from what food shops should have done, because you don't think
I don't
he
think
should
so. I think saying I fucked up and I'm never doing it again, and if I do it again, you guys need to hold me accountable and I'll go get fucking medical
pretty
help.
sure,
I would
like,
hold that for food shops as well. That's not
Chat,
different.
am I crazy? I swear to God, because you had just said there's no way optically for him to do this. There's no way for him to optically come out of this. I think that there is. So I mean,
What is it?
Tell
me,
saying.
what is it?
It's what you're saying.
To say, hey, listen, my earlier apology, I actually lied. I did know it was lolicon. I do think it's fucked up. I'm never gonna do it again. And as
We have more concrete proof of Vaush than we do at food shops and Mr. Girl combined. That's true. That's facts. That's spitting.
a result, I, you know, if anything like this ever happens again, then basically
he'll still sit there and act like he was creeped out by the Mr. Girl conversation and didn't just get triggered by the fact that Mr. Girl was referencing things that Vaush had said about Lolly in the past.
I'm committing to you now that I will go get psychiatric assistance.
Yeah.
Okay. You know what? I agree enough that that would be good, that no matter how likely it is to happen, I can at least admit that that would be ideal for me. That's what I would want in an ideal world.
Okay. So then I think as content creators who know the guy, who know that he does have these redeemable qualities inside him, we should be putting pressure on him to do these things. I don't think it's a good thing for him to lie. And again, I hope you're able to see at least by the end of this conversation that there is a severe discrepancy in the attitude that you have between these two situations, and there's and it's not consistent. So
okay. I mean, I think I've articulated my motivations for why it's inconsistent, but if you don't accept that, like I understand. I think that. Yeah, I've already said it like 5 times, so I'm not going to repeat myself. But I think there's a reason why it's different. But I agree with probably 60 to 80% of your prescriptions.
Okay, all right. Let me think. Is there anything else? I don't know if I want to have a full-on panel in here, but I guess I can drag people in if they really want.
That Stardust has got such bad content sense. Jesus, dude. You could have had a full-on pack. That would have been your best content in months.
I mean, if you want to drag in those people that were hanging out with us earlier, that way, just if they have anything they want to say to me before I dip out, that's cool.
Yeah, sure.
It elicits something else. Oh God.
Did you guys have? We just finished our conversation. Did you guys have anything else you wanted to say here?
Yes. So to put it a little bit more concisely, I know that you have some favorable opinion of Vaush because he's like, you know, you guys have some level of personal relationship, but like, surely, like, the way Vaush engages with you must have seen the way he engages with the lolicon stuff, the way, like,
dude, leader sucks so bad.
Sort of like the debate bro tactics, using sort of those sorts of topics, way he engages with, you know, the horse jokes. And more specifically, and most important,
why don't you just give the specific and important point that you want to talk about? Why did you just ramble for like a 4-minute bloviating about other examples when the one you actually wanted to talk about and analyze was the very last one? It's just fucking annoying, dude. You're just sandbagging.
The way he like the charitability he gives, like,
people just love hearing themselves talk. It's so pathetic, dude.
And, like, you know, his like flash reactions of it. Surely you agree that, like, you know, you can, you know, this guy doesn't deserve as much charitability as you're giving him. I've been putting ages to ask this.
No, dude, that was a.
Oh yeah, remember that she wants to be heard and have people engage with her points, but everyone knows how retarded she is, so very few people would address her. That's why she doesn't want a panel. True, yes. She always gets ignored in panels because she always got the least interesting contribution. Very true. Very good point. Very good point. I forget that she has to have the handicap. She has to have the isolation.
Great knife to stab into my guts and then twist. That was fantastic. Yeah. So
I'm sorry.
no, it was great. It was great.
Wait, can I use my time to make you just wait in the silence and think about that for another extra few seconds?
Sure, but I have tears like gathering at the corner of my eyes.
Wait,
so...
just wait. Think about it. Think about what he just said.
Sorry, I've been sitting on this one since the start. I needed to get this out. My apologies.
Okay. All right,
No,
I think I used my time well. I'm out. That was amazing. Bye.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
Anything else, guys, before I wrap this up?
Well, hold on. I have to address that because that was actually a fantastic point. And I legitimately do have tears of humor and sadness at the same time coming from the corners of my eyes.
Dude.
So, So one of the things that I mentioned during the whatever panel that was, I think it was a WIC panel, that being in a dog pile of this size, I know for a fact that Stardust can sympathize with being at the bottom of a dog pile. I can sympathize with being at the bottom of a dog pile. It's one of the worst situations in the world when you have a few dozen people in your DMs calling you a fucking retard and telling you to kill yourself. When you have a few hundred people who are basically doing mentions on Twitter calling you a fucking piece of shit and a retard. And it sucks knowing that there's a subreddit filled with thousands of people who are basically calling you a giant fucking idiot who should kill themselves. It's a bad feeling, right? And it normally lasts a few days, if not a few weeks. So knowing that Vaush is probably hitting this experience at the upper level, if he comes back, last year, and I would say the year before, was the most disappointed that I've been in Vaush's rhetoric ever. And the reason why is because conservatives are demons, they should kill themselves, they're evil, there's no charitability with them, there's no conservatives who have anything positive to say, etc., etc. I literally think he's making the Tim Pool Civil War situation.
My back is so bad. Okay, stop complaining.
Worse. I think he's blackpilling tens of thousands of young people into believing that the society is on the verge of a genocide, and we're on the verge of an apocalypse.
If Vaush can accuse Tim Pool of stochastic terrorism, then Vaush is a stochastic terrorist.
100%.
What a novel and interesting new idea. Thank you, Grandad's Lounge. Thank you so much. Oh my god.
100%. So what I'm hoping is at the end of this is, I think this
you didn't figure that out when you said that you should take pot shots at Republic. You didn't figure that one out. You didn't figure that one out when you said shoot him in the street. Yeah, okay.
Probably be one of the worst dog piles of Vaush's career.
3 years later,
if at the end of this, he's like, you know what? That sucked ass. I've done that to other people. I'm done with that. I'm actually going to have real heartfelt conversations. I would view that as another thing where I would go his way and try to enable him to succeed. If, however, he comes back from this scenario and he's like, conservatives are fucking demons and they're all secret pedophiles and they're going to kill us all and the trans genocide is one step away.
It's not Bonga Jeans. It's just the last month or two as I've been streaming more, been at this fucking desk and leaning forward all the time. It is literally just when I'm doing this.
I'm just going to view them as like a bad faith actor who didn't learn his lesson from the most fucked up moment of his life. As a result, he's now a political enemy, not a potential ally. He needs to be rhetorically and socially destroyed.
Man, you have such a high bar for someone who is just gonna, like, you know, Fortress Arc, you know, to the maxing Fortress Arc for the next like 5 years. You have such a high bar for what this man needs to do.
I agree.
Quick, anybody else here have anything quick to add to this?
Origin DMs me and he said, "What the fuck are you talking about?" So I would be interested.
Yeah, I was just saying, if we're wrapping soon, I was just going to ask, like, Connor, would you mind, like if me and you have a chat at some point soon? Because I'm also going to go to bed in a sec.
Yeah, awesome. literally DM me on fucking Twitter or Discord. I don't care.
Sick. It'll be on Discord. Fuck Twitter.
Beautiful.
Nice one. I'm going to go to bed.
Sorry,
Thank
Origin
you for hosting this star. And peace out, guys.
Thank you.
See ya. Origin said, "What the fuck are you talking about in DM?" So I would want to know what their contention was.
I'm just kind of curious why neither you nor Stardust are just you're not addressing the real issue at the heart of it, which is fuck food shops and Vaush both with what they have done and what they do. Like, it doesn't matter if one has a huge following and if they've said good things or if you think you know them, fuck that shit. There should be no exceptions to this type of behavior if it's ever leaked.
Fucking Origin, dude. Please get me out. Oh my god.
Because if it's by themselves and they never show it and it's never hinted at under any context in these public spaces, that's one thing. But once it actually comes out, regardless of who it is, it doesn't have to be someone you like or someone you think you know. If they have that shit and they're gonna hide behind it or try to defend it or even any context like that, fuck them.
Sure,
Just
I
shun
agree
them
with you.
under any context.
Origin,
Yeah,
my
Skylar, I'm not a
only
fan,
issue, I agree
be
with you,
honest.
is it has to be a consistent attitude on any actor in this, right?
Sure.
If you're going to have one attitude on this, then you should have a consistent attitude across the board. So
Yeah, so both food shops.
You know you are getting an awful interaction if you ever see someone with a profile picture of like a statue, like a bust of like a Greek philosopher or a Roman emperor, anything like that. Any of these sorts of profile pictures, you know you're about to have the worst interaction of your fucking life.
And Vaush, I don't give a fuck if you guys like them or if they have a small or a gigantic audience. If they fail in this area on something this fucking egregious and unethical, then fuck them. I don't care if you like them or not.
okay, Brick, what did you have to say?
Honestly, I hope 90% of the audience adopts your perspective. So, yep.
I mean, I agree with what Origin is saying. My main contention was, you said you'd prefer, somebody's like Vaush compared to the food shop situation where they kind of like sweep it under the rug. I think it's almost worse the opposite, like that way. It is encouraging it. If I go and I'm like an anti-drug, person, and then I'm obviously on drugs all the time. It's like, hey, kids, don't do drugs. And then I'm like fucking strung out all over the place and people know that I'm doing drugs. Like, you're encouraging people to do this. And worse, you're encouraging people to like hide in the shadows about this. And that's where these things get worse. Is like, people come out and like can maybe get help and they can realize that they are like shamed publicly. That's the biggest problem with this Vaush situation compared to food shops. Is like food shops had no shame, but it blew up in their face, right? But when it came to like Vaush, he has no shame. It came back, and I don't know, Stardust, I don't know if you said you saw the images and it was the horse fucking the lolly fucking things.
There's like a lolly girl like giving a rim job to one of the horses. Yeah, there's like a whole bunch of stuff. Yeah.
Didn't he say originally that he wants to be the horse? Like he said, so he's basically admitting to that he wants to fucking have like weird fucking sex with underage fucking like cat.
Apparently though, the wanting to be the child is not an excuse. I found out from Spudgun recently. Apparently there's research that the pedos will also self-insert into the child. So that's a new one that I learned. So there's no excuse for certain individuals.
Characters. Okay, so he's basically admitting to having like pedo fucking urges or fantasies, and then he goes and then comes back and says, when he addresses it, he says, "Oh, well, I have no apologies for being into what I like. It's just my fault for being sloppy and showing it." Like, so if
I don't know if that was the full. I don't know if that was the full take. He did talk about like lolly being bad for XYZ ABC reason, why he talked shit about it in the past, etc., etc. Whether or not you view that as genuine or not is a different thing. But he wasn't like, Giga Chad, I love lolly. That didn't happen.
No, but he was Giga Chad about the horse thing.
He was Giga Chad about the horse thing, and to be honest, I still think I'm like digesting and in shock. If it was kind of like an anime thing.
It's optics.
Right, go ahead.
It's all about optics. Of course he's gonna fucking back off. He's cornered with the lolly thing. He got destroyed by H3H3 with the lolly shit. So of course he has a career, right? He doesn't want to go and become a fry cook. He has this thing he has to maintain. He can't.
I don't think Vaush is at risk of becoming a fry cook. I'm gonna be fucking honest.
He's like, and he's not brain dead. Clearly, he's pretty good at like rhetoric, and he understands like public perception. So if he goes and out of one side of his mouth says, "Well, I like what I like, but hey, the thing that will get me canceled, obviously, I don't like. Yeah, guys, I don't like that. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Hey, I don't like to do drugs. I don't like to drink. Right? Wink, wink, nudge, nudge. Like,
okay, I'll give KingBrickShit this. He's an annoying sped, but he is correct about this. This is something people will do oftentimes. Is they'll do stuff like, say there's a criminal allegation. They'll acknowledge and admit to everything except the criminal act. And it's like, well, okay, how likely is it that everything about this story someone's telling you about is true, except the thing that if you admitted, you might be punished by the government for?
Like, it's encouraging this, like deviant, degenerate behavior, and like you said, that circle will line up because not everybody some people will watch Vaush for his rhetoric and for his anti right-wing takes, But you know what? People are gonna go and like tune into Vaush, especially people who share his beliefs and say, "Hey, he's our guy." The people who go and do this, like, you know, oh, Trump does this white supremacist dog whistle. Isn't Vaush doing like pedo dog whistling at this point?
Yeah, kind of.
Yeah, and another thing that I brought up while talking to a friend about this whole thing is that with
Sorry,
with
that's
Vaush,
just
yeah.
Sorry. This outrage was kind of like what I was originally pushing for. So it's like it's like cathartic for me in a way to hear people.
Dude, what is he on about? Everyone says this shit. Why does he feel it? I don't even know where he got this impression that he was the sole condemner of lolly in a sea of people who were just saying food shops is no big deal. Where did he get this idea?
People so passionate, so pissed off. Fuck this, fuck that. These are the lines. If you cross them,
but
like
wait
that
a minute.
makes me pretty happy.
Food shops did get dogpiled, and part of the reason why she started giga chatting is because she got so thoroughly destroyed that she gave up on communicating with people. So like, yeah, you can say like, oh, I was looking for this, but she did get fucking destroyed. But you know what Vaush was caught with is empirically worse on every level. I will say it, and I will stand by it, because he wants to be a horse. In a lot of these images, he's a horse fucking girls and getting rim jobs from girls, and like what kind of stuff goes through your head where you're able to put young women, young girls so low in your head and get off to having a horse fuck them? And what also goes through your head where you're willing to dehumanize yourself to that level where you want to be the horse fucking these little girls, putting them so fucking low beneath you, you know? There's something like actually psychologically really like wrong there.
Can I say one more thing real quick, Stardust, real quick about what I said? When I say fuck people like food shops and Vaush, when I say shun them, that means don't harass them, don't send them messages threatening them or wishing them death. That just means ignore them, shun them, don't even talk about them or address them.
Yeah, Sunday. Unfortunately, that is Origin. Yes, you may want to close the stream.
Don't harass them, period.
No, you know what you should do? You should go on their stream, go and call in and say, hey, so you got any good lolicon lately? What's going on? What's going on with that, big guy?
That's stupid. No,
don't let them get away from it. Like, pin them to it, because this is what, like, the internet has, like, and not just the internet, but the entire culture has the attention span of a goddamn gnat at this point in time. And you get these people who go and, like, you know, oh, well, let's sweep it under the rug. Let's just go and do video game streams and let's act like it didn't happen. But no, you have to pin these people to these things and make it them. That's what Vaush is. Unless Vaush comes out, because this is the biggest problem with him doing this. Like, food shops is like mentally ill and trying to like defend themselves because they're an up and coming streamer doing some fucking weird hot take, okay? And like they're a nobody. But what Vaush is doing is he's like normalizing this thing and he's like making it accepted. And by doing that, he's like carving out a little niche where it's like normal in society. And if you just let them go with that, it just gets worse. There's no shame here, because if he doesn't go and admit that like this is, hey, what Vaush started out, if I'm correct, right, as like a conservative type, and then switched, you know, after he got like beat in debates.
I don't think he had a
not conservative, but not as liberal as he is now, right?
Liberals.
I thought it was always like the lefty in Destiny's community. Wasn't he always the leftist that came on to argue with Destiny to make him more left? Wasn't that always the case?
The wrong word. I don't think he's always been a leftist. I think he's always been
whatever he is. But the point
very far.
Oh, Sunday. This is actually true. I enjoy Origin because he's a living example of the most common caricature of myself. Yes, Origin is like he is like what you would the character you would portray if you were trying to mock President Sunday.
Far left.
The point I'm trying to get at is to go and change your positions, you have to admit wrongdoing. So if he doesn't admit wrongdoing in this, he's not going to change his position, and therefore he's doing this pedo whistling the entire time. And that's the most concerning part about this.
Vaush's position that he watches Lolicon. His position was it was never his position.
That's not his position.
His position was Lolicon is degenerate, and then he got caught watching it. That's different. That's not a position.
He didn't just get caught watching Lolly. He got caught again. Let's remember, it's horse Lolly, and also this is somebody who is supposed to be like a male feminist, right? And he's okay with degrading women to this level, right? And
no, I agree.
Himself.
Vaush is just I'm not completely fucked in the head, if you ask me. But...
I'm not saying it's his public position. You know, the Japanese. I don't know what the Japanese saying is exactly, but you have 3 faces, right? You have your public face, you have your face you show your friends, and you have the face you don't show anybody. So the point is, and it's like a joke in his community, so it's obviously that he's into like fucking horse whatever weird shit. So it's like it's a known thing. That's like his second face. To everybody else, it's like, oh, Lolly's bad. But in his community, it's known that he that he watches CP, this,
right? So yeah.
I'm trying to, like, that's a whole, like, when you start connecting like that, he's watching Lolly and his weird arguments on CP and like his, like, some of that stuff, which I try to give him the benefit of the doubt that it's taken out of context and he's using it as like an example of why it, you know, why cobalt mining is bad or some shit and how we're hypocrites. But when you go and take it back into the context of the whole thing, it's pretty fucking bad and pretty damning. It's, you know, hey, you know, I like doing drugs. Shouldn't drugs be legal, everybody? You know, just because, you know, if you're gonna...
Guys, I just... I'm sorry, I'm outing myself as distracted here. I just glanced at my Twitter and I see a post where it's a video. The caption says, 97-year-old New York City diner still serves their Coke the old-fashioned way. Now, when you actually look at the video, it's actually a video of a bunch of overweight men in hospital stretchers with a matrix code overlay scrolling down the image, scrolling across the video, being jerked off by like suction machines that are like on their cocks, like jerking them off. The Stylo, I'm linking you this. Start, I'm sending you this. Check this out. This is some good stuff. This is good stuff. This is funny. I assume this is like to deliberately trick it into the algorithm. It's like deliberately, it's deliberately trying to get it into people's Twitter feeds, into their For You pages, to expose them to that, isn't it? That's what's going on here. That's epic. And then there's in the replies, someone says, I don't understand what this is supposed to mean. And the OP replies, it's a 97-year-old diner that still makes their Coke the old-fashioned way. Oh, man. That's good. This is great. This is great. And he's replied to his own post, sorry, trying to delete. Stylo, vouch for me. Check this shit out. Vouch for me in chat. Repeat this shit.
Going to say that speeding is illegal. Shouldn't drugs be, you know, like, it's just, that's a terrible sequitur. But,
right.
but he's...
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry, finish what you're saying.
No, all I'm saying is, it's his, if this is his private position and it's well known and he's doubling down on it, he's doing it because he's defending it. He's defending it.
My only thing that my only caveat with what you just said is doubling down. I don't think he's doubled down. I think he ran away from it.
He's running away and hiding. Yeah, but I think that's still really bad. Yeah.
But that's the equivalent of doubling down if you're trying to play optics. If you don't distance yourself from it and say, look, my bad. This is wrong. I have a problem. I have a porn addiction or whatever.
You're coming from this from a position where people should be watching Vaush in the first place. I mean, like, the red flags have always been there. Like, hey guys, I'm into horses. Well, you know, and then like every other stream with his like lolicon fucking, you know, his debates involving them, the way he sort of talks about cops, his like hyperbolic arguments. I would say that you shouldn't be watching, you know, you shouldn't be watching Vaush to begin with.
No, he's a terrible terrible content creator.
This is just so novel and original. Amazing. Amazing. You shouldn't be, you know, Vaush is actually kind of a bad guy. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thanks, guys. No one figured this out like 4 years ago.
guys,
this is way worse.
I want to kick everybody out because I have other content to cover. So, it was great conversation.
Stardust.
Thank you, Connor, for well, let me. First off, I'm gonna kick everybody else off, okay? And then, thank you all for joining. Okay, I appreciate your input. Okay.
Enthusiasm.
I'm sorry.
Enthusiastic. No, they were very enthusiastic.
They are, yeah. No, I mean, I don't know. I think I saw something really different than you did around a lot of this, but I guess thank you for engaging with me, Connor. I know it wasn't an easy conversation, but I do appreciate it. So
I think you held me responsible for. Okay, I think I articulated why I felt differently about the difference about the situations, and articulated the variables that were different from my perspective. However, you have given me, I would say, room for thought, specifically with like why am I giving him a pass? Not really a pass, but why am I being nicer, and are those reasons valid? Is it literally just he was nice to me a few years ago?
I'm quite tweeting the video.
Just like
I'm
not freaking out about it, or is it? And is that even warranted? Right?
Yeah.
Is this such a moral transgression that should eliminate any charitability that I've ever had for the man?
It's too much.
And I'm gonna have to think about that. So yeah, I appreciate the ammunition for thinking.
Yeah, and I look forward to seeing some more moral consistency in the future. So I'm sure that'll be a thing. So yeah, that'll be great.
Okay, I'll call everybody a pedo and I'll encourage them to commit suicide. Gotcha. So.
All right, great. I'll see you later, Connor. Thank you so much for joining. Yeah.
Yeah, I'll see you. Bye.
See you.
And she ends it to go and vacantly watch now recording. Okay, great. Well, that kind of lost steam at the end. I felt like all the points have been addressed a million times over by about 50% of the way through that conversation, but whatever. That's fine. That's fine. That's fine. That's Twitch poll, in fact. That's Twitch poll. That's what I've come to expect.